we are tackling what has to be one of the most satisfying, but also, let's be honest, one of the most frustrating parts of holiday baking.
The perfectly decorated sugar cookie.
Exactly. Those ones you see that look like they came from a high-end bakery.
Yeah, the ones with that flawless, glassy surface. If that's what you've always wanted to make, this deep dive is basically your roadmap. Our mission today is all about decoding that finish.
And we're going to demystify the key ingredient there, which is royal icing. That's that sweet, hard, candy-like shell that makes it all possible.
Okay, so we're breaking this down into two big parts, right? First, the cookie itself, the foundation.
And then the main event, mastering that tricky royal icing consistency.
All right, let's start with the foundation. Because, I mean, you can't paint a masterpiece on a lumpy canvas. You need a cookie that holds its shape.
And the biggest debate we found in all the sources, it all came down to one question.
To chill or not to chill?
That is the question.
Yeah.
It's this classic baking debate, and it's really a trade-off between quality and speed.
So you've got one camp that's pushing this no-chill recipe.
Right. They claim you can just mix it, roll it, stamp it, and bake it immediately. It's all about expediency.
But then you have the other, much larger and frankly much louder camp.
Oh yeah, the traditionalists. They basically say that any sugar cookie that is, and I think one source said, worth eating,
Right.
it has to be chilled. They argue that no chill is just a recipe for spread.
And the science is really on their side, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Chilling the dough solidifies the butter, so when that cold butter hits the hot oven, it melts slower, which is what helps the cookie hold its shape.
It stops the edges from kind of slumping and blurring out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a structural thing, not just a suggestion.
So how long are we talking for a good chill?
Minimum 1 hour in the fridge. But, you know, a lot of the pros recommend going overnight if you can.
Overnight? Wow.
Yeah. But if you're in a hurry, 30 minutes in the freezer can work in a pinch.
Okay, and here's a pro tip that I thought was so useful because this always happens to me. The dough softens up while you're rolling it out.
Yes. The second chill. This is critical.
So what is that?
If you cut your shapes and they feel a little soft or sticky, you just pop the whole baking sheet with the cutouts back in the fridge for 10 minutes.
Just before they go in the oven.
Right before they bake. It's like a final insurance policy for sharp edges.
Okay, so our canvas is perfectly shaped. Now we have to bake it. And the texture's soft versus crisp, that's all about timing.
It's all in the bake time, yeah. The sources broke it down by color, which I thought was helpful. For a soft, really pale, melt-in-your-mouth cookie, you're looking at about 9 to 10 minutes. They should look dry, but with almost no color on the edges.
And for a crispier, more golden cookie, the kind that has that nice snap.
You go longer, more like 12 to 14 minutes. You want to see that golden brown edge developing, which also gives you a richer kind of browned butter flavor.
But the key, no matter which you're going for, is not to overbake.
Never.
Yeah.
You have to pull them when the centers still look a little bit soft.
Because of carryover cooking, right?
Exactly. They need to cool on that hot baking sheet for about 5, maybe 10 minutes. That residual heat is what finishes the job and firms up the center.
And then you move them to a wire rack to cool completely.
Completely. I cannot stress this enough. Icing a warm cookie is just a melted disaster.
So before we get to the icing, one last thing on the cookie itself. Flavor. Most recipes are the standard butter, sugar, egg, flour, but the really top-tier ones had a little something extra.
They did. The secret combo seems to be using both vanilla extract and almond extract. The almond isn't strong, but it adds this, I don't know, this surprising depth that makes the cookie itself delicious, not just a base for the sugar on top.
Okay, I love that. So we've got the perfect cookie. Now for the main event, the part that scares everyone.
The magic shell. Royal icing.
What actually is the difference between royal icing and, say, a buttercream frosting?
It all comes down to how it's stabilized. Buttercream is stabilized by fat, by butter, so it stays soft. Royal icing is stabilized by egg white protein, which makes it dry completely hard.
Into that candy-like shell.
Right. And that hard, non-sticky surface is what you need for decorating.
Now, historically, that meant raw egg whites, which makes people nervous.
For good reason. And the sources were, thankfully, very clear on this. The modern gold standard is meringue powder.
Okay, what is that exactly?
It's just dried, pasteurized egg whites, usually with some stabilizers mixed in. It completely removes the salmonella risk, and it gives you incredibly reliable, consistent results every time.
So it's safer and it's easier.
Exactly. But if you can't find it, or you want to go old school,
There is an alternative.
there is. You have to use pasteurized egg whites from a carton. The rule of thumb was about 3 large egg whites can replace the meringue powder and water in a typical recipe.
We also saw one ingredient pop up that seemed a little scientific. Cream of tartar?
Ah, yes, the interfering agent.
What on earth does that mean for a home baker?
It sounds complicated, but it's actually your secret weapon against grainy icing. Sugar wants to form big, gritty crystals. Cream of tartar is an acid that gets in the way and stops that from happening.
So it forces the sugar to dissolve smoothly.
And that's what gives you that super glossy, fine-textured finish when it dries. It's a must-have, really.
Okay, so we're whipping our ingredients. The sources were really specific about mixer speed here.
Yes. Don't go too fast. If you whip too much air into it, you get a fluffy, marshmallow-like texture.
Which is not what we want.
Not at all. You want it dense, smooth, and glossy. Low and slow is the way to go.
Not for the color. This seems like a critical step where you can ruin everything.
It is. And the consensus here is it's non-negotiable. You have to use gel food coloring.
Not the little liquid drops from the grocery store?
Absolutely not. The liquid stuff adds way too much water, and it will instantly throw off your consistency. Gel gives you intense color without messing with the moisture content.
And there's a strategy to how you mix it in, too.
A very important one. You have to color the icing before you thin it. So you add the gel to your thick base icing.
Okay.
And here's the other pro tip. The color deepens as it sits.
Right.
So mix it a shade lighter than you want, let it rest for 15 minutes, and then see where you are.
That's a great tip. And for a pure white?
Use clear vanilla extract. The regular brown stuff will give your white icing a yellowish, kind of dingy tint.
Good to know. Okay, so we have our thick colored icing. Now, for what you said is the single most important skill.
Mastering consistency, this is the entire game.
And it's all about adding water, right? Slowly.
So slowly. Like a half teaspoon at a time. You're trying to control the fluidity, and the way you measure that is with what they call the ribbon test or the knife test.
Okay, explain the ribbon test. How does that work?
It's just a timer, basically. You drag a knife through the surface of the icing, making a line. Then you start counting 1,000 to 1,000 at a time, how long it takes for that line to completely disappear and the surface to become smooth again.
So it's an objective measurement.
Exactly. No more guessing. That number, that count, tells you everything.
And the sources broke it down into 4 main consistencies.
Right. First up is stiff. This is like thick cement.
Yeah.
It takes 25 seconds or more to settle.
Wow.
You'd only use this for like 3D flowers or really intricate details that have to hold their shape perfectly.
Then you have piping consistency.
Yep, this is your border icing. Think toothpaste. It's thick enough to create that dand around the edge of the cookie to hold in the thinner icing.
And then there's a middle ground.
There is. Medium consistency. That's about a 15-second icing. It's a good all-in-one. If you're not doing super detailed work, you can outline and fill with the same icing.
But for that professional glass-like surface, we need the last one.
The holy grail. Flood consistency.
And this is where that timing is so important.
This is everything. The sources were unanimous. The absolute perfect window for your flood icing is between 8 and 12 seconds.
8 to 12 seconds. Let's really pause on that. What happens if you miss that window? Say it's too thick, like 15 seconds.
At 15 seconds, it's not going to self-level properly. You'll end up with a lumpy or bumpy surface. It won't be smooth.
Okay, and if you go too thin, you add too much water, and you're at like 5 seconds.
Disaster. Absolute disaster. It's so runny, it'll just flow right over your pipe dam and drip down the sides of the cookie. You have zero control.
So that 8 to 12 second window is truly the key.
It is the entire key to a professional finish.
Now, what about that dipping method? That sounded like a quick shortcut.
It is. It's for speed, not detail. You make your icing even a little thinner, like 8 to 10 seconds, and you literally just turn the cookie upside down and dip it. It's fast. It's rustic.
And if you do mess up and make it too thin, can you fix it?
You can. You add more powdered sugar, slowly, to thicken it back up. Or even better, add back some of that thick base icing you hopefully set aside.
Smart. Okay, we have our perfect consistencies. Let's walk through the actual dam and flood process.
Step 1. Use your thicker piping consistency to draw the outline or the dam around the cookie's edge.
That's your wall.
That's your wall. Then you switch to your thinner 8 to 12 second flood icing and you fill in the middle.
And you use a little tool like a toothpick or a scribe to nudge it into the corners and pop any air bubbles.
Yes, and here's the secret to getting that puffy, pillowy look everyone wants.
Ooh, okay.
Don't just fill the icing level with the dam. You want to overfill it just slightly so it domes up a bit. As it dries, it'll settle into that beautiful rounded, professional finish.
That makes so much sense. Okay, base is down. Now we have 2 ways to add more detail.
Wet on wet versus wet on dry.
Let's start with wet on wet.
That's when you add your second color, while the first base layer is still completely wet. So if you want to make polka dots or drag a toothpick through to make hearts or swirls...
The colors all melt into one smooth layer.
Exactly. But for layered designs, you need patience.
This is wet on dry.
Yes. If you want to put, say, a green leaf on top of a white background and have it stand out, you have to wait. Let that base layer dry for at least 30 minutes, maybe even a couple of hours, until it's crusted over.
And then you can pipe on top of it.
Then you can pipe on top, and the details will stay sharp and dimensional.
This brings us to probably the most overlooked step, drying. Once they're decorated, you can't just put them in a Tupperware.
Absolutely not. That's a fatal mistake. They have to be left out in the open, on the counter, to air dry.
For how long?
For a long time. At least 6 to 8 hours, but really, up to a full 24 hours to be completely cured. But the good news is, that hard shell actually seals the cookie and keeps the inside soft.
Okay, but we found that amazing hack for getting that super glossy, almost shiny finish.
This was the best tip in all the sources. The heater fan hack.
A heater fan?
A small space heater fan.
Yeah.
If you just let them air dry, they can sometimes look a little dull or matte. But if you put the freshly iced cookies in front of a fan on a low heat setting for about an hour...
What does it do?
It kind of clash dries the surface, and that rapid curing is what creates an incredible, beautiful gloss. It's a total game changer for presentation.
That is brilliant. Okay, last logistics question. What about leftover icing?
It will crust over in minutes if you leave it out. You have to press plastic wrap directly onto the surface of the icing or cover the bowl with a damp cloth.
And it stores well?
Very well. It'll last a few weeks in the fridge, or you can freeze it for months. You just have to re-whip it when you thaw it out to make it smooth again.
So if we boil this entire deep dive down, it really all comes back to one thing, doesn't it?
It does. Everything we talked about, from the dough to the final gloss, it's all in service of this one skill.
That 8 to 12 second consistency rule.
If you can nail that, you can make beautiful cookies. It's that simple.
It's funny, when you step back and you look at the total time investment, it's huge.
Oh, it's massive. You could easily spend 2 days on one batch of cookies, from chilling the dough to the final 24-hour cure time.
You're essentially creating these temporary edible little works of art.
That are designed to be eaten in, 10 seconds?
Right. And it raises this interesting question, what does that cycle of pouring so much effort and precision into something that's so fleeting? What does that teach us about the value of making something beautiful just for the sake of it?
It's something to think about, I suppose, the next time you bite into that perfect, pillowy flood coat.
Until the next deep dive, happy baking.